One thing that I have been dealing with a lot these days is procrastination. You know that feeling when you have a task at hand, but somehow you find yourself scrolling through social media or organizing your desk instead. But have you ever wondered why we procrastinate? I mean, what's going on in our brains when we put off important tasks until the last minute? Well, let's dive into the science of it. You see, our brains are wired to seek immediate rewards. When we procrastinate, it's often because the task at hand does not offer an immediate sense of pleasure or gratification. Instead, our brains prefer to engage in activities that provide instant dopamine hits, like checking our phones or watching Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. To understand this even better, let's take an example. Let's say you have a project due in a week. Your brain perceives the deadline as far off, so it prioritizes short-term rewards over long-term goals. That is why you might find yourself binge watching Netflix or YouTube instead of starting on that project. And it's not just about instant gratification. Our brains have a tendency to avoid tasks that seem overwhelming or complex. This is also known as the avoidance coping mechanism. Our brains, when faced with a daunting task, instinctively looks for ways to escape or delay it, which leads to procrastination. But it's not just about our brains seeking pleasure or avoiding discomfort. This phenomenon is not something new with only our generation. In fact, anthropologically speaking, procrastination can also be traced back to our ancestors. Back in the day, our survival depended on conserving energy for crucial tasks like hunting or gathering food. So our brains are wired to prioritize tasks that are perceived as urgent or life-threatening, while pushing less pressing tasks to the back burner. And thus, with the combination of these neurological impulses and our deep-rooted anthropological instincts, it's like we are wired to procrastinate. Our brains seeking instant gratification clashes with our ancient survival mechanisms, compelling us to conserve energy for life's essential tasks. So that's why it's no wonder why procrastination feels like an uphill battle against our own biology and history. So now that we talked about why we procrastinate and what causes it, the real question that now arises is that how do we actually stop procrastinating ourselves? And to answer this question, I have researched a lot and found a few simple hacks, which if you incorporate into your daily life, you might become more productive and procrastinate less often throughout your day. So here goes. Number 1. Prioritize tasks based on urgency and importance. Number 2. Break tasks into smaller and more manageable chunks. And lastly, number 3. Create structured schedule with set deadlines. By prioritizing tasks, breaking them down into manageable steps, and setting structured deadlines, we can combat procrastination by tapping into the fundamental reasons behind it. So before ending this session, I want to tell you one last thing, that the next time you catch yourself procrastinating, remember, it's not just about being lazy or lacking discipline. It's a complex interplay of biology and history that's deeply ingrained in our psyche. Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay curious.